The following are true scary stories found on the subreddit Let's Not Meet. I'll have a link in the description below. If you enjoy this video, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe for more. Let's begin. I have an ongoing situation with someone who lives nearby and thought this would be a good community to seek advice from since everyone here has a decent spidey sense. So I live in a large city, but my neighborhood has a very peaceful, residential feel. Lots of multi-story, row houses and apartment buildings, which means a lot of people living in a small area. Everyone is relatively friendly, and I always have nice conversations while out walking my dogs. So one day about 3 years ago, I was walking with my two dogs just 1 block from my apartment. A man walked up who looks identical to Quentin Tarantino. He immediately stooped down and began talking in a baby voice to my dogs. They looked really uncomfortable and kept pulling away and ducking their heads. He did this for about 5 minutes, and finally I tugged their leashes and said,
"Gotta go. Have a good one."
Quentin Tarantino never acknowledged me or conversed with me. We walked off. Then over the next few years, I kept encountering him like clockwork during every single walk. Every time he would rush over with his baby voice and my dogs would give me these pitiful looks. I'm totally cool with people petting my dogs, but the way this man went about it, no asking for permission, no saying hi or even acknowledging my presence, just diving right down to pet my dogs and coo in their ears, it was unnerving. But okay, he was just a neighborhood dog-obsessed weirdo. I started coming up with alternative routes in order to avoid encountering him, which usually worked. Sometimes I'd see him standing on the corner, looking around, so I'd abruptly turn around and walk the other way. At the time, I lived with someone who would often walk with my dogs and me, and he would also encounter the strange man. One day, he told him to fuck off and never touch the dogs again without permission, and the guy went and disappeared. I did not see him for at least 12 months and thought that he had moved. I almost forgot he existed. So about 2 months ago, I was up late at night trying to finish something before a deadline. I always walk my dogs before bed, but time sort of flew by as I was working. I didn't realize it was already 2:30 a.m. by the time I finished. My neighborhood is very safe and full of nice, young families and retired folk, so I didn't think much about leashing my dogs up and heading out in the middle of the night. As I suspected, the streets were absolutely dead. We slowly strolled around, and the dogs were taking their sweet time smelling every little thing and peeing every 2 seconds. I crossed the street to a sidewalk that is lined with very thick oak trees. There is parallel parking on this side of the street, and all of the slots were filled with tall SUVs, so the sidewalk itself was incredibly dark. The trees and SUVs blocked out what little moonlight existed. So one dog is pooping on a tree while I'm standing there, lost in my own thoughts. Then I hear a weird laugh that honestly sounds like it belongs to a deranged clown or maybe the leprechaun from the movie The Leprechaun. I immediately start looking around. My dogs are really on edge and look like they're about to bolt. Other than the weird laughing, it is dead silent outside. I don't even hear a single cricket. I'm looking around frantically for the source. It sounds like it's getting nearer. I felt like I was in a Goosebumps novel. I wasn't quite sure which direction to head in to get away from John Wayne Gacy, and my feet felt glued to the sidewalk. I finally spot him. Yeah, you guessed it. Quentin Tarantino, walking on the street adjacent to my sidewalk, except on the other side of the SUV so that I couldn't see him at first. He's doing this weird prancing walk towards me and my dogs while and I'm like, nope. So I just start sprinting with my dogs toward my house. Does Quentin stop his creepy act after realizing he's terrified me? No. I am almost positive he is chasing me because I hear footsteps pounding behind me, and he is no longer whispering. It's now more of a loud guffaw punctuated by heavy breathing. Great. So I put on an extra burst of speed, run around the corner that leads to my back door, and hide behind a dumpster with my dogs. I try to hold them still so that their collars don't jingle. Then I see him walk by. Stroll by. He's all nonchalant like nothing ever happened, and he's whistling. I wait about 5 minutes until I'm almost sure that he's gone, and then I hurry inside. I told my friends, and they all insist that I somehow follow the guy the next time that I see him so that I can figure out where he lives and then report him to the police. But then what could he be arrested for? I work in criminal law here and I can't think of anything. What he did doesn't qualify as stalking or assault or anything like that. So instead, I stopped walking my dogs after sunset, changed my dog walking routine, and changed the time that I took my dogs out. A month after that incident, I'm asleep and my buzzer rings. For some reason, the buzzer is in my bedroom even though my bedroom is in the back of the apartment, and it's loud. I wake up sweating with my heart pounding and adrenaline immediately coursing through my veins. The dogs rush to the front door and start howling. I check my phone and see that it's 3:45 a.m. Who rings the doorbell at 3:45 a.m.? The buzzer keeps buzzing for about 5 minutes, and I'm surprised my neighbors aren't pissed because it's that loud. I creep towards the front door, trying not to step on any of my creaky floorboards. My dogs are up on the couch, looking out the window next to the couch and barking viciously. Then I hear a creepy baby voice saying, "Aw, aren't you the cutest, rootiest little puppies? I love you." I refused to get visual confirmation because I was beyond freaked out. But who else did that baby voice belong to? He left and I never opened the door. Which brings me to today. I'm walking home from work around 6 p.m. and I see him standing at his usual corner. I'm dog free. He begins following me for about 5 to 10 feet from behind. I decide to walk down the back alley and go through my back door. My apartment has a front door on the main street. Then I have a porch in the back alley with a back door that opens into my bedroom. The porch is open access, so anyone in the world can walk into the alley and then onto my porch. So before I turn into the alley, I look behind me to see if he's still there. He's maybe 4 feet away, and he stops to look at me with this weird look on his face. He almost looks embarrassed. I quickly walk down the alley and up the stairs heading to my back porch. I turned back when I was on the stairs and I see him standing at the mouth of the alley. Then he walked out of sight. About 30 minutes ago, I'm napping on the couch. It's silent in my apartment, and all of a sudden, I hear really intense banging on my back door. It's angry and really heavy banging. The pounding continues for what feels like 5 minutes straight, but it actually is probably more like 2. My dogs wake up and scramble to the back door, growling and barking. The banging stops. Then I start to relax. It starts up again. There is absolutely no reason for anyone to ever go on my back porch or to knock on my door. The back porch is hidden from view by wooden walls. You have to go up a flight of stairs, and the whole thing is almost completely covered with cardboard boxes because I'm hoarding them for my move. It's also deep in an alley that no one ever walks down, and the door itself looks nothing like a door that anyone should be knocking on. My landlords, neighbors, friends, etc. have always used my front door, which is well lit, has a doorbell, etc. So I tiptoe back there, my heart pounding in my chest. And the doorknob starts to violently jingle. Thank God for deadbolts. I peek through a tiny crack in my blinds and see Quentin Tarantino standing there. I slink back towards the front of my apartment and start ferociously texting everyone I know in case he breaks in and turns me into a giant dog, like that walrus-crazed guy in Tusk. None of my friends are responding, and my mom only said,
Just call me later this weekend, sweetie. I'm walking the dog.
Maybe he has some sort of intellectual disability or mental illness that could easily explain this weird behavior. Or is this something completely innocent and I'm just being super paranoid? Just a quick little trip into the past. When I was a young girl, I always used to walk around with my head held down and my eyes focused on the ground, as if the dirty pavement would somehow magically change color. This was partly due to me being extremely shy and quiet, but my naivety was mostly to blame. Funny enough, this always used to get me in trouble due to bumping into random strangers or getting completely lost in my surroundings and losing my mother. She had had enough of it one day, and warned me that I needed to walk with my head up and become aware of the people that I would meet and to always keep track of my surroundings. My family was going through a nasty divorce at the time, and my father did not play fair. Now fast forward to present day. Being a grown-up 20-year-old female with a younger preteen sister, I can appreciate the wise words my mother spared me that one day. It was a very hot, very boring Texas summer day with nothing much to do or think of. My sister and I were home alone with my mother at work. Unfortunately, there's only one car to share between us, but thankfully I had the golden opportunity to borrow the car this particular day. I had decided to escape the four walls of our cramped apartment with my sister and take her out to the local outdoor mall. We had hit up our favorite stores, bought a few things, but mostly just window shopped and basked in the sun. Getting a little tired, we decided to head into Barnes & Noble's and browse a bit. As I decided to go to the toys and games section like the adult I am, Claire travels to the teen section, probably to grab dibs on one of the latest cringeworthy love story novels that she loves so much. Looking around the store a bit, I decided to head back and check up on my sister. Only being 12, she's old enough to hold her own, but still young and careless enough to need some supervision. I spot her, catch a seat and wait until she's done browsing. As she's picking up a few books from the shelves, I notice a tall man in his late 40s, clean cut, dressed very well, and showered in strong cologne, important for later, standing in the same teen aisle as her. Uncommon, but no big deal. It's what he's doing that makes me a little weirded out. Every book my sister picks up and puts down, he seems to go after. Now, I figure maybe he's buying this for his younger son or daughter and is a little too shy to ask an employee for help. As soon as she makes up her mind, I usher her to the register so we can pay and leave. The line is pretty long, so we're both standing there in the store for a while. Out of the corner of my eye, I spot the gentleman a little eerily close to the waiting line, just hovering around close to the birthday cards and gift cards near the registers. Again, probably just a coincidence, but it strikes me a little weird that after all of the book browsing he had done near my sister, he didn't have any merchandise in his hands. Finally, we get to the register and proceed to check out. Happy with our purchases, we decide to leave and head to one final store for the day. Exiting Barnes & Noble's, I notice the gentleman now outside, leaning against a pillar off in the distance, casually smoking a cigarette while on the phone. Now here's when it begins to get fun. I'm walking hand in hand with my sister into Bed Bath & Beyond. The stores are next to each other and I'm parked across the street. My mom wanted one of those cool ninja smoothie makers and I decided to see how much they cost. As we're both browsing the virtually empty store, we near the front looking at all the products out on display when I hear the giant sliding doors open. 1,000 points to the person who can guess who walks in. Getting a little annoyed at seeing him again, I decide to do a little test to validate whether we're being followed or not. We head to the bedding section of the store and remain there for a while. Keeping my eye out for him, I don't spot him anymore. I let my guard down and pass it off as just being paranoid. My sister spots an item that catches her eye and I let her go check it out for a while I continue to roam the store. Like the invisible wind, I just got a really bad feeling and I can smell the man's cologne trailing off somewhere. In a panicked state in my mind, I scurry off to find Claire, and the man is literally standing less than half a foot right behind my sister, just peering over her as she innocently smells candles. I get angry and pull her to my side, asking him if he needed help with anything. He scurries away without saying a word, and I didn't see him again, until I left the store. As I'm heading to the car with Claire, I see the creepy man running out of Bed Bath & Beyond, and my red flags start going off. We quickly get into the car and make a mad dash out of the parking lot. As I'm driving around the mall, this man somehow caught up to us in his own car and made his way up behind us. As he's tailing my ass, I'm freaking out. I'm trying my best to lose him, and in my panic rage, I started honking like a madwoman in an attempt to get attention and make him stop tailgating me. At the time, I didn't think of pulling out my phone to call the police. However, I found mall security parked in a pretty busy Macy's parking lot and pulled up next to him when I noticed the man speed up and drive away. I alert the security officer, and he ushers me to the main road and I drive off safely and head home. My mother's wise words always resonated with me growing up as a kid, and I'm forever grateful that she taught me to pay attention to the people around me. Looking back at this event, it always gives me the chills to wonder what would exactly have happened if I didn't keep an eye on my sister. It even freaks me out more knowing that she could have possibly been kidnapped during the open daylight. Creepy man that preyed on my sister. Let's not meet. Never. I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you did, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe so you can catch all my future content. I release videos Monday through Friday. I really appreciate all your support. Don't forget to add me on Facebook so you can talk to me on a more personal level as well as get updates about my channel. And just remember, It's always scarier if it's true.